Alright, the first thing I want you guys to do is just go ahead and open the journal. It's going to be called Benefits Medical Vocab, and we're going to be on page 13. Let me turn the brightness up. I'm going to make it focus one more time. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Once you have that done, I'm going to walk you through the whole thing. It is killing me to talk because my allergies are giving me a sore throat and a stuffy head, and I just want to go die. Not really a good... Like, seriously. Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'll give you another minute or so to write down that, and then we're going to get started on... I'm on page 13. So for me, I'm right here on page 13. I'm going to call this benefits. Now we have a bunch of vocabulary words, and how this is going to work is we're going to divide and conquer. So the first one is going to be, so this is going to be above. I'm going to put one word and skip a line under every single word. I'm going to underline the words because we're going to be filling these in with definitions. Just look it up. Alright, guys. Christian, do you know what a premium is? Do you know what a provider is?
Huh?
Provider? Did you know that one yet?
Provider?
Yeah.
Oh, like
You've got urgent care, emergency room, and medical necessity. Christian, do you have provider yet?
No, I didn't get the...
Okay. Gustavo, you got in-network?
Mm-hmm.
What's in-network?
Healthcare facilities that are part of a health plan network of providers which is
You're totally right, but do you know what any of that means? Can we break it down into what it means, guys? Okay, do you guys know how insurance works in general, easy to understand terms? How does your phone plan work? How often do you pay your bill on your phone? What happens if you don't pay your bill? You don't have your service, right? Insurance, your medical insurance is the same way. You pay something every month to have your service. Now this in-network and out-of-network is very similar to a phone. Now, you guys are too young, but like 10 years ago, the networks were not as good nationwide as they are. So do you guys know what roaming charges are? Like if you... Yeah, if you're out of the country, that's how it is now, is out of the country. Used to be if you were out of network. So if you weren't in the same area that your provider, they would charge you extra because they'd be borrowing, like if I had T-Mobile and I was in an AT&T area, they would charge me extra for using the Verizon or the AT&T or whatever. Does that make sense? So in network, how this works for doctors, for your medical, is your insurance makes deals with all the doctors in the area, whether or not they want to work with them. So if it's an in-network, the doctor has a contract with your insurance. So this is just your doctors that with a contract with your insurance. In this case, it's usually covered. It's usually completely covered. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that. Okay, so that's just doctors. These are my brilliant handwriting with a contract with your insurance. Gustavo, do you know what out-of-network is? Instead of with a contract, what would be the opposite of with a contract?
Okay, the doctor does not have a contract with your health insurance
Yep.
provider.
It's doctors without a contract.
Is that PPAC?
It's usually not covered. So out of network is just any doctor that doesn't already have a contract with your insurance company. So the insurance company has like deals with their doctors on how much they'll pay them for what things. And if it's a different doctor, I used to work in medical billing. That was one of my first jobs when I was in high school. And usually insurance only covered about half of it. Does that make sense? So the reason the doctor's prices were super high is because they only got paid half of what they're supposed to get paid. Crazy, huh? Okay. Alize, do you have deductible or copay ready?
Yes.
What do you got?
So deductible, I have the amount you pay for covered healthcare services before your insurance plan starts paying.
This is what you pay? Before. Before is your key word here. Before insurance covers a percent. So insurance doesn't cover all of it after your deductible. But that is, it pay, so usually your insurance covers like 70%, but you have to meet a deductible first. And that deductible changes on every plan. I have an HSA plan, which means my deductible's like $3,000 or something crazy high, which means every year I have to pay $3,000 out of pocket before my insurance covers anything. You follow me? Kind of crazy. What's a copay, Alize?
I have a fixed amount you pay for a covered healthcare service after you pay your deductible.
Yeah, basically. So medical, I'm just gonna put $20 for a second. Usually your copay is like $20, $30, $50. It's usually a set amount. And your insurance doesn't want you to go to the doctor for every tiny little cut, scrape, and bruise, because that'd be super expensive, right? So they want you to have to pay something to go. So this the idea behind the copay is, okay, if you're really sick enough that you need a doctor's help, then you pay $20 towards it, and we'll believe that you actually need the help. Does that make sense? So it's small enough that it's not gonna like kill you, but it's substantial enough that you don't want to just like lose your money. So this is what you pay every visit. So you pay this for every single visit. Jacob, do you have urgent care and emergency room?
For urgent care, I put the body nurses, including a medical condition, which are serious and not life-threatening.
Yep, I'm going to change it a little bit. Christian, I'm swinging back to you. Are you still working on these?
The provider?
You-
Provider is a person or thing that provides something.
We'll come back to you. I just wanted to know if you're ready when we come back to you. Do you have, it's right, but do you have premium?
Premium?
Yeah, look up premium as well, and we're going to come back to you as soon as we get these two done, okay? Okay, so urgent care, yes. I'm going to put $50 is usually what your copay is at an urgent care. It's when you need immediate. You need immediate care, but it's not life-threatening.
Which is there right now.
I don't know how brave you are, but I'm going to tell you a couple different stories. One is for me. About 5 years ago, I dropped a knife on my foot, cut it all the way down to the bone.
What do you mean, like
You dropped it like that, or you dropped it?
I was cleaning my counter and I knocked it off the counter.
Because I
And
don't
it-
think it could fall like this. Like
Yeah,
that.
because I doubt it just you dropping it just simply like that. It's not
I feel
gonna
like it's gonna poke you, maybe you.
Yeah, a little poke and
It was a big knife.
I like the machete, like
Do you know what a chef's knife is?
a little round, like the square one.
That's a butcher's knife. I'll show you.
I think it's just long.
So the chef's knife is the one that has a thick blade. See how it has a thick blade like that? I dropped that on my foot. So it cut my It wasn't like crazy bad. I wasn't gonna die. But it cost me about $100 to go and get it taken care of in urgent care. Because it was a $50 copay. And then it was about $50 to pay for the shots and the stitches and everything that I did.
Well, you didn't have no shoes on?
I was in my kitchen cleaning.
No shoes in the kitchen?
No shoes in the kitchen.
You had socks, right?
No.
That is just,
I don't wear shoes and socks at my house. Is that bad?
that's it.
Not if you be clean,
Not
right?
even no flip-flops, no slides.
I like no shoes. Okay, so this cost me about $100. If I went to the emergency room, the copay is usually $250.
That's like life-threatening situation.
That's only for life-threatening situations. So when I was in college, my roommate, she was trying to clean, like she had made some sticky, do you guys know what caramel is? Do you know what, it's not caramel, but it's even more, it's like toffee, which is like really hard. She was using a knife to try to get the toffee off the cookie sheet. She had made some, and the knife slipped and cut her hand, and she had to go get stitches. She had to pay a $250 copay, and then they charged her $1,500 for shots and stitches.
How is that crazy?
Because they went to the emergency instead of to the urgent
Get off
care.
the urgent care, right?
Do you see the difference in prices? So this one, you only want to go if it's life-threatening.
So like if like a heart attack, or like you fell off like a building.
So for basically, if it's surgery, surgery. So here in Texas, I would go if I needed surgery, or if it was a snake bite. So like if you get bit by a rattlesnake, urgent care doesn't have the antivenom, but the emergency room does. Does that make sense? So the antivenom doesn't have a very long shelf life. It's not very stable, and it can't be used for a long period of time. So they only keep it in one place locally, so that everybody goes to that same place and it's not getting wasted. Yeah.
I don't know how does that antivenom work? Like how the hell you take the venom out of your system?
Suck it out.
No.
I don't want everyone knowing your business.
Like I have a Capital One card,
Okay.
one of those credits, and I got good credit and all that. It's just I need to pay off right now, and like I think I didn't pay off for like a good 2 months, and I had to owe like $432. I already paid half of it off, and I already got some of my credit back, like my money credit back.
Yeah, you need to just pay it off.
This is basically.
Yeah, that's the best way to
Because
fix it.
because I know when I signed up for that card, everybody was surprised with my credit score, and they were like, "Man, you could just buy a house already or a car." And I was like,
To fix the credit score, just pay it off and don't use it too much. So
I know,
you want to pay it every month.
I know, well, because every time when I get, like, say if I want to buy something with my credit, I only use it like it's just that need.
But do you pay it off immediately?
I'll pay it off immediately if I have the cash, or not, or like pay it off with direct deposit, something like that. But if I don't, I'll pay it off monthly, or like weekly.
Okay. If you don't have the cash, don't buy it.
Yeah. Not like
I'm gonna push record. Can we move on?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Provider.
Yep.
Is a person or someone who provides
It's a doctor.
what?
It's basically a doctor. It could be a chiropractor.
I need to go to my car.
It could be a nurse practitioner. It could be something like that. It's someone who's providing the service. Does that make sense? So when you're talking to the healthcare people, they use all this jargon, and if you don't know what they're talking about, it's really hard to make a good decision. It's just like, wait, what, what's that, what? And they're not very patient in explaining it. My nose won't stop dripping. Okay, next we have Roland. When you're ready with the FSA.
Yeah, it's an arrangement for your employer that lets you pay for many out-of-pocket medical expenses.
It's a flexible saving account. I think you did an HRA. This covers, okay, you can use it on over the counter. Do you guys know OTC? Over the counter.
It isn't just like, I believe in finance, but
Pardon?
just like, bills that $50 is kind of like Canada.
I'm sorry. I have a really bad
Is it
sign.
just like medicine that you could buy like from
Yeah.
the shelves?
Yeah. That's what over the counter means. So like if I went to, like today after school, I'm gonna go try to get some more medicine to get rid of this cedar fever crap. The allergies are killing me. I could use an FSA on it, so it doesn't have to be at the doctor's office. I can go get Band-Aids. I could go, like, let's say that I hurt my hand and I need one of those wraps for myself. I can spend it on any of those kinds of stuff. Does that make sense? Now, there's usually limits. I know not in Arizona, if I had more than $500 at the end of the year in my FSA, the government took whatever there was. So if there was $2,000, they would have taken $1,500 and left me with $500. And they would have been like, thank you very much. Crazy, huh? Okay, Roland, do you know what an HSA is?
It's a tax advantage medical savings account.
Yep. It stands for Health Savings Account. I'm going to highly recommend that you use one. It's pre-tax dollars. The reason that's important is it lowers your taxable income. So it changes how much money you have to pay in taxes. So if I put $3,000 in my HSA, that's $3,000 I don't have to pay taxes on. And there's a cap on how much I can put in, but the government doesn't take it away if I have it at the end of the year. So I can put it in and save it for me to use it, and if I don't use it, it's still mine next year. And I can save that up for decades for when I retire and I'm old and I'm going to have medical problems, right? Also kind of cool about this, so right now in the US, the limit is, the cap is $3,600 is the most you can put in your account. And if you have over $2,000, you can invest in stocks, etc. So you can earn money on it. This is part of my retirement, my personal retirement plan, where I'm like managing stuff myself. Does that make sense? So that's really cool. HMO is C, which is Christian. What's a HMO, Christian? Mm-hmm. Don't know, come back to you. Okay, look it up. I'm gonna do Gustavo's because Gustavo's not here. PPO stands for preferred provider organization. Basically, I'm sorry, I'm still teaching. It basically means you pick your doctor. We don't care about the network. The network doesn't matter. Christian, when you're ready with the HMO, let me know and we'll come back to you, okay?
I got it.
You got it? Okay, go ahead. What you got?
The type of health insurance plan that usually limits coverage to care from doctors to work for or contract with the HMO.
Okay, health maintenance organization. It basically means you're stuck with insurance chosen doctors. So whoever the insurance chooses for your doctor is your doctor. You don't get it if you don't like that doctor, too bad. That's your doctor. Does that make sense? So a PPO, you get a pick. If you don't like the doctor, you can go get another one. Doesn't matter. The HMO, if you don't like your doctor, too bad. That's who your doctor is. Which one do you want?
Wait, so HMO you just stick to one?
HMO, you don't get a choice. PPO, you get a pick.
Oh, you get a pick?
You get to pick whoever you want. Which one do you want to do? Do you
Well,
want
which one's better? That's the question.
That's what I'm asking you. Do you want to be able to pick, or do you want to be stuck?
I always said pick.
Alize? HRA? What is that?
It's a health reimbursement arrangement and the employer funding the copay.
The key here is that it's set up and paid for by your employer. I have never seen this. I know they exist, but I've never seen it. But just because I've never seen it doesn't mean you won't, and I want you to be ready for whatever they throw at you. Does that make sense? One of the biggest things I hope you get out of this class is learning how to do your own investigation to find out what's going to work for you. Because everyone's situation is different. Okay, medical necessity. Jacob, when you're ready.
I think for healthcare services that a physician does, evaluate,
Okay, I'm going to break it down for you guys. It's basically standard practice. Standard. So standard practice is, okay, so the idea behind here is, does your insurance want to pay for a facelift? Do they want to pay for anything that's not required to keep you alive? Do they want to spend thousands of dollars on experimental treatments? Okay, so they only are going to cover something that's considered medically necessary. So just like if I'm dying of cancer and they've tried everything that they usually do and it's not working, the insurance is not going to cover any experimental treatments because it's not standard practice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they're not going to fund that. So that's where this standard practice, they cover what is needed to treat / diagnose. Okay? You do not get to choose what is medical necessity, and your doctor doesn't get to choose. It's industry standard. So whatever is common practice throughout the United States for that situation, that's what they choose, okay?
So that's what you stick to?
That's what you're stuck with insurance, unless you want to pay out of pocket for whatever else it is.
what, basic eye surgery fall into that?
LASIK eye surgery is typically not covered by the industry. I want LASIK eye surgery because for my insurance it covers $250 and it costs $2,500 per eye. Does that make sense? Okay, we've got 2 more to knock out. Roland, what do you got for out-of-pocket maximum?
I got capital limit on the amount of money you have to pay for covered healthcare services.
Yep, it's the most you have to pay before insurance covers the rest. Okay? Typically, it's 2 times your deductible. So most insurance will cover like 90, so you pay a copay and you pay whatever, like the insurance will cover like 90% of your visit. That 10% that you're covering, if that starts to add up, like if you're dying of cancer, right? Cancer is super expensive. As those add up throughout 1 year, so only 1 year, there's an out-of-pocket maximum. So it could be something like $5,000, $10,000. That's the most you have to pay, and then insurance covers everything after that. Then the next year, January 1st, you have to pay that again before they cover any more. Does that make sense?
Wait, so you gotta pay it again?
Every single year, you have to pay your out-of-pocket maximum before they cover everything.
How much was that?
Depends on, there's like 2,000 plans. I can't tell you that. The plans are selected by your employer, and then they only give you like 2 or 3 options. So tomorrow, next time I see you guys, I'm going to give you I'll give you the ones that we got to choose from as Waco ISD, and you'll look at them with me and I'll break them down with you. Does that make sense? If I had more options to show you, I'd show you more, but they don't publish them anywhere. You just have to be shared. Okay, Medicare. What do you know about Medicare? Who pays for it?
Yourself,
Nope.
the government,
Tax funded. So basically the government, but where does the government get its money? Does the government make money itself? No, it steals it from us in the form of taxes. Tax funded insurance. It's for everyone. Okay, not just those. So Medicaid is for people who can't afford insurance or their job doesn't provide them insurance, right? So if you're a part-time employee, you probably have Medicaid because your job doesn't allow you to have insurance through them. However, everyone over 65 is forced to go on Medicare. They don't get the choice. So 65 is a key point here. Okay, I'm going to stop my recording.